Hello and happy Pride Month, everyone. I'm Justin Nelson. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm the co-founder and president here at NGLCC. I am so excited to introduce today's program, which will feature spotlights from some of our amazing certified LGBTQ-owned businesses, but also a panel of folks from across the NGLCC network to talk about allyship, pride in business, and celebrating our successes. However, during Pride Month, it's also important that we reflect on the celebration and where it originated, on Christopher Street in New York City, where our community, led by Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Riviera, protested against inequality. We must also recognize that we still face struggles today, over 50 years later. The attacks across the country on LGBTQ Americans, many of them are trans siblings, are a stark reminder that we still have a long way to go to achieve the goal that Marsha and Sylvia fought for. We honor their memory and the memory of those that fought alongside them, and we continue to fight in their honor so that everyone can be their full self in their personal life and in their workplace. The LGBT community contributes over $1.7 trillion to the U.S. economy each year. That would make us the 10th largest economy in the world if we were on our own nation. With contributions like that, we cannot and will not be ignored. We continue to innovate, employ, and contribute to the U.S. economy. So today, we celebrate those contributions and highlight the resilience and many successes of the incredible people within the LGBTQ business community. So happy Pride, everyone, and enjoy today's program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to NGLCC's celebration of Pride in Business. My name is Lauren Schweppe. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm our Director of Programs and Stakeholder Advocacy here at NGLCC. I am so excited to be joined on this virtual stage by four incredible members of the NGLCC network today, and we're going to be talking about Pride in Business, allyship, and much more. Before we jump into our discussion, I'd like to introduce our amazing panelists. We have Chris Lugo, the Executive Director of the OUTGeorgia Business Alliance, Heather Russell, Director of R&D Portfolio Strategy and Systems at Johnson & Johnson MedTech, Joey Alvey, Enterprise Partner Manager and LGBTQIA+ ERG Lead at Grubhub, and Troy Berry, co-owner of 4 West Lounge. So to start us off today, Troy, I'd like to start with you. Your business, 4 West Lounge, is located in New York City. As an LGBTQ business owner residing in the birthplace of Pride in the United States, what does Pride Month mean to you, and what can the LGBTQ business community at large do to continue to support businesses like yours?
It's so funny. I think most times when I respond or answer questions, I always respond with a story. I remember the 8-year-old boy and the 18-year-old boy growing up in Harlem, uptown in New York City, and being afraid to walk down the street, being afraid to be who I am. And when I got older, I was basically trying to change who I am to fit where I was at. So a lot of the times I think also probably have experienced this, is that we change who we are to fit where we are. And because I was an inner city young African-American LGBTQ boy growing up in Harlem, which was very straight, very aggressive at that time, I found myself changing the mechanics of my behavior and my mindset to retrofit where I was at, just so I could survive. And to be at this stage and be at this age, and to be on both sides on the form of being Black, LGBTQ, but also being on the side of being a business owner, Black-owned LGBTQ, and now being able to have and own and operate an establishment that is meant for LGBTQ, I didn't have to change where I was to fit who I was. Now I'm actually embracing the change, and I don't want to say pioneering, but disrupting the market to say, I won't go. Now you're going to be here with me, and now you're going to basically have to be here to retrofit that we are here. And it feels good that at this place and at this time now, I didn't have to go or change where I was. I was able to take the where and put it right in Harlem to fit my who.
Yeah, Troy, I love that. And we talk a lot about not wanting to force anyone to check any part of their identity at the door, how whether it's in our personal lives or in our business lives, we should be able to be our full selves. And I totally agree with that. And I thank you for sharing your story there. Heather, I'd like to turn to you. I understand that you've been an ally for a long time for the LGBTQ plus community. Could you share with us how you started your journey?
Sure. So I started my journey in 2014. So there was a female, transgender female, 17 years old. Her name was Leela Alcorn. She actually made international news. And why she did is she had published her suicide note on her Tumblr account. And it really hit me hard because, one, she was part of my kid's school district and she didn't have support from her family. And she ended up walking in front of a truck on the highway just 2 miles from my house. And that just hit me that, you know, a child would think that was the only way out. So after that, in 2015, I had joined our Open and Out resource group, which was for the LGBTQ plus community and their allies. And I ended up then co-leading the Cincinnati chapter for 3 years and ultimately became the J&J North America Open and Out co-lead. And basically during all this time going on, my youngest child came out as bisexual and eventually as a transgender female. And I also have a transgender nephew who was assigned female at birth. And basically it's made me a better parent and aunt involved.
Heather, we truly couldn't do it without allies like you. And I know there's been a lot of talk about allyship within Pride Month and outside of Pride Month. And I've got a question about that a little bit later on for everyone. But Chris, I'd like to turn to you. I know that your chamber, OUTGeorgia, has a few initiatives, notably the TGX 360 and your OUTGeorgia Impact Fund, that are aimed at supporting the businesses that you serve. Could you talk a bit more about these programs and what else your chamber is doing to support the LGBTQ community this month and beyond?
Absolutely, Lauren. So the OUTGeorgia Business Alliance, if you're not familiar, we've been around since 1994, and we are, again, Georgia's only LGBTQ plus and allied chamber of commerce. We have about 450 member organizations across the state that are part of our chamber, and we're incredibly proud of that. One thing that we recognized several years ago is that we have to really further invest in our commitment to our trans and gender expansive community, but also to the nonprofit organizations that are in the Atlanta area and across the state that are boots on the ground doing the work, especially for the communities that most need support. So our TGX 360 initiative, which was actually inspired by the Independence Business Alliance's Trans Work program, our TGX 360 program aims to support Georgia's trans and gender expansive job seekers and entrepreneurs through a variety of programming to connect them with resources, support them on their journey, but also to ensure that they have a warm, welcoming space where they belong at the OUTGeorgia Business Alliance. We actually just held our LGBTQ plus business summit here in Atlanta, Georgia at the Federal Reserve Bank, and we held our TGX 360 business pitch competition. It was incredible, had 3 wonderful trans entrepreneurs pitching their ideas, all coming away with prize money, and lots of other support. But it's just another wonderful example of the work in this space, which is chaired by Gabrielle Claiborne. Many of you may know Gabrielle's name, but Gabrielle chairs the National Chamber's TGX initiative and is incredibly prominent here in Atlanta and across the states. Our Impact Fund is a really special relationship with United Way of Greater Atlanta. This United Way here in Atlanta is the largest in the United States. And we found an opportunity to collaborate on a fund that we could go to many of our corporate partners and many of the United Way's corporate partners, raise money that we then turn into grants to other 501c3 nonprofits doing the work in our community. And we have an emphasis on investing in trans-led and Black-led organizations right here across the greater metro Atlanta region. Last year, we were able to fund 7 nonprofit organizations with a total distribution of $35,000. We actually have a $100,000 goal this year to raise, and we're about 65% of the way there. The awards will actually be distributed and announced at our community honors event, which is happening in early September. But this is a really special collaboration where it started as a conversation with a couple of leaders at United Way of Greater Atlanta and asking that question, what if we were able to create a fund like this, and how could we leave a lasting impact in our community. A wonderful thing is, we hear a lot about Pride Nights with major professional teams across the United States, and the Atlanta Braves this year, they were actually able to donate a portion of every Pride Night package to the OUTGeorgia Impact Fund, and their foundation made an additional contribution for a total contribution of $30,000 to our Impact Fund this month, which was really remarkable, helped us move the needle, and we're going to be giving away a lot of money in September thanks to their support. And I think both of these initiatives, TGX 360 and our Impact Fund, are indicative of our board and our leadership asking that question of how do we do more for the communities that need the most support.
Chris, that's amazing. And it's so awesome to see the incredible impact that OUTGeorgia is having on your community, and the impact that all over 54 NGLCC affiliate chambers are able to have in their regions. And we're so proud to partner with our affiliate chambers like OUTGeorgia. So thanks, Chris. Joey, I know NGLCC partners with Grubhub and the Grubhub Community Fund on a special program, the Community Impact Grant Program, which provides grants to LGBTQ and allied restaurants. I'd love if you could just tell us a little bit about that program and why Grubhub felt it was so important to partner with NGLCC and support LGBTQ plus businesses in this way.
Yeah, totally. Just kind of going back to 2020, like Grubhub has been a partner with the NGLCC since then. We kind of came up with this program, to kind of help alleviate restaurant owners, problems during the COVID-19 pandemic. And LGBTQ plus owned and allied businesses were actually one of the most hardest hit by COVID over the past 2 years. So we've been partnering with the NGLCC and you all, Lauren, since 2020 on the Community Impact Grant Program, which you mentioned, to recognize and support the LGBTQ owned restaurants across the country. Through this program that we made possible through the Grubhub Community Fund, we have invested more than actually $4 million in LGBTQ plus and owned businesses nationwide. Yes, snaps for that. Most recently, we've actually helped the NGLCC Foundation with a grant of $2.1 million to go towards restaurants, and we'll provide another $1.5 million that will go directly into LGBTQ owned and allied businesses, from grants ranging from $5,000 to $25,000 that will support other LGBTQ chambers supporting small businesses. We talked about it before we started this panel recording that I was actually in New York to help award some of those grants this past weekend in New York City in Times Square to kick off their Pride. And it's so fun and awesome to, be a part of this community and help the NGLCC, not only with restaurants that help, them, but, have that money trickle down to others and help them support, local owned businesses as well.
Well, Joey, I know that NGLCC is so proud to partner with Grubhub on this program, and it has just been really amazing to be able to give away all this money to extremely deserving LGBTQ plus and allied businesses, and also support our affiliate chambers like OUTGeorgia in the meantime as well. So thank you so much for your partnership. And Troy, I'd like to turn it to you. So as an LGBTQ business owner, do you find that there's a difference in what Pride means to you as an individual versus as a business owner?
I do find a difference. And one of the differences is that as a patron or as a customer or just as a regular constituent, you don't see the behind the scenes, the governing laws, the controls, oh my goodness, all the tenants are going to complain because I know they're going to be packed on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And because we are in a mixed use building in New York City, commercial on the bottom, residential on top, it is our job as owners, business liaisons, to create structure, to create and form the order so that we don't basically impede on everybody else. Even though it's fun and good energy for us, it may be noise to to somebody else. So looking at it just from a structure, order, and business standpoint, and saying, wow, I love to celebrate who I am. I love to celebrate Pride. I love to be in the cheer and joy and the excellence that we serve as an individual. But then on the business side and at the owner side, I'm like, wait, we can't do that out here. Or, dim down the lights or turn down the bass because there are other people who basically, even though it's Sunday and it's gay and it's happy, there are people who have to get up in the morning on Monday morning. And so I'm always battling that. I want to have a good time. I want everyone to be in such a celebratory movement, but also I want to be respectful to those who do not partake.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the duality of man, having to justify those two parts of yourself, the one that really wants to party and celebrate, but also the one who has to be cognizant of your neighbors.
I woke up Monday morning looking for emails from my landlord and I didn't see any. I'm like,
Oh goodness, I can imagine Pride Month in New York City and Pride Weekend in New York City. It gets pretty
oh
rowdy.
my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, thanks for that, Troy. Heather, I'd like to turn to you. So Johnson & Johnson is the reigning champion of NGLCC's BRG Challenge. Could you share some of the ways in which J&J is leading the charge to drive a more inclusive environment for the LGBTQ plus community?
Sure. So J&J's North Star is our credo, and DE&I are core values of the company. So J&J continues to support the community through employee policies, business practices, and advocacy. And, a few examples of that is, we have worldwide facility guidelines for all gender restrooms in our new buildings, as well as renovations as allowed by law in the region. We also have a lot of health benefits, 12 weeks of paid leave, not only for maternal and paternal parents, but adoptive, surrogacy assisted, or foster parents. And then also assistance with fertility treatments, adoption, surrogacy, transgender inclusive healthcare coverage. And J&J is also covering any eligible medical services that are not available by a provider within 100 miles. They're covering the travel expenses for that. I think also when it comes to the business practices, we have the Open and Out ERG Employee Resource Group, which, as you can see, we're celebrating 30 years this year. So it's one of the oldest ERGs, but just offers a safe space and a support community, and we do a lot of fun things together. We also have a global talent development program for the community within J&J. As far as advocacy, supporting the Pride parades globally, we marched in the New York parade. I was in Cincinnati, we marched there. It was a great time. We have 2 external campaigns, so Depressing Looks Like Me and Positively Fearless, as well as our internal Open and Out labs. So those support and empower, provide resources for depression, the HIV community, and help eliminate inequities of healthcare impacting the LGBTQIA plus community. And we also sponsored the True Colors Day campaign this year and last, which is an international day of advocacy around preventing and ending LGBTQI plus youth homelessness.
Heather, that's awesome. And it's so great to see all the work that you're doing for the LGBTQ community from J&J. And BRG Challenge applications are open right now. So if you'd like to challenge Johnson & Johnson for their championship, our team will drop the link into the chat here for our corporate partners who are looking to apply to be a part of the BRG Challenge. Chris, I'd like to turn it back to you. I would just love to hear a little bit more about the communities that OUTGeorgia serves, specifically anything in your membership that you'd like to highlight or celebrate this Pride Month.
We thank you so much. I certainly want to give my thanks to Grubhub and NGLCC for the impact grants that you all supported. We had 10 incredible restaurants and organizations that were awarded those just this past week, our LGBTQ plus business summit. And the smiles on their faces, we were at an LGBTQ as we were celebrating, and just a lot of smiles, some tears actually of just joy and surprise and of having this acknowledgement. Actually, one of our recipients noted to me that this was the first thing that they've ever won. They've never been awarded any honors or awards or money or anything, and this was the first one, and that this was going to help them launch a hot sauce line. That they were from Grubhub is helping this restaurant launch a hot sauce line, which is a dream of theirs, and without this support it wouldn't be possible. We have so many other examples of joy and success and organizations thriving here at the OUTGeorgia Business Alliance across so many different communities. Of course, we are deeply embedded into our trans and gender expansive community here in Atlanta and across the state. We have an incredible Black and Latinx community right here in Atlanta that we serve, along with our AAPI communities and our communities of varying disabilities. And we also are really passionate about making sure that we're supporting OUTGeorgia programming and impact all across the state. So we are doing even more now in Savannah, Macon, Augusta, Columbus, and a number of other stops along the way. And because of our relationship with the NGLCC, we're able to better kind of spread the good word about the work that we're up to. But I think more importantly, we're able to share stories of what it means to be a business owner, an out business owner in Macon, Georgia, which is very different than Atlanta, Georgia, or in Savannah or Tybee Island or in Augusta. And we really embrace the personality and the unique needs of those communities. And we lean into the importance of visibility. And like during Pride Month and in our business summit, one of our sessions was around the positive impact that LGBTQ plus businesses can have in our communities. And I remember when I was growing up, I didn't have any examples close by of an out LGBTQ or Latinx professional that was thriving, happy, and not, to be honest, the brunt of a joke. And for the OUTGeorgia Business Alliance to be a place where you can see all of these examples of success and different examples of how an individual can go about their professional lives, their careers, entrepreneurism, as well as the leadership in their community. I think we're leaving a wake of inspiration that is going to have a rippling effect across our country and inspire even more, no matter if you're young or old, more folks to lean into entrepreneurship, lean into leadership, and make an impact wherever they are.
Yeah, Chris, I'm so glad you mentioned how these hyper-local communities, how important it is to be able to have community at your sort of smaller scale place. We're not a monolith. The LGBTQ community is by no means a monolith. We're a vast group of people from all over the country. And, that's why we relied so heavily on affiliates like OUTGeorgia, because you all are the ones who are the boots on the ground talking to these business owners in your communities every day. And you're the ones that know the needs of your communities. So once again, we just really appreciate the work that you do, and you're having such an incredible impact on your communities. So thank you so much for that as well.
Thank you.
I want to ask this question to the group at large. So as we close out Pride Month, what are ways that our allies can continue to have a positive impact in order to move the agenda forward outside of just the month of June? Heather, could we start with you on this one?
Sure. So I would say definitely in light of the current conversation, just frequent your LGBTQIA plus owned businesses in work and personal life. I would also say to diversify like your social media streams with the talent, authors, organizations, and public figures from the community. And I also would say just to continue to be present and a safe space for your LGBTQIA plus colleagues, friends, and family, because you just never know the impact it will have on them. I remember bringing my nephew to their first Pride Parade last year, and they were 16, and he was in awe that all these people were there supporting him. Because being in high school, you don't see a lot of people that look like you. And so it was very impactful to me that made a big difference.
Thanks so much for that, Heather. Joey, how about you?
I always turn to self-educating, even as a member of this community, of the LGBTQ community. I always try to self-educate myself. Like, what don't I know? Who am I not listening to? What groups do I not know about, or their struggles in this community? This past weekend, I saw that, the first asexual Grand Marshal was, in the New York City Pride Parade. And, that was such a huge thing that, a group that is normally underrepresented in this community, that someone was Grand Marshaling the Pride Parade who was asexual. So that led up to a bunch of conversations with my friends, what is asexuality, and, what umbrellas are there under that community. So like, allies or even people in the community, I always just say self-educate, constantly learning and growing and asking questions about, things that you might not know about, or communities you might not sure are even in your community.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many resources out there nowadays. We live in such an amazing world where we have such access to information that there's so many opportunities to be able to continue to educate ourselves and make sure that we're not only staying up to date, but also exploring different cultures and different aspects of our community, which, as I mentioned before, is not a monolith. It's broad and it's diverse. And there's so many aspects to it. So continuing to educate ourselves on that, that's such a great point. Thanks for that, Joey. All right, Chris, what else can our allies do to help support the community?
I would say learn about and show up for small nonprofits that are doing the work in very specific ways in your community. We love the large national or international nonprofits, of course, and the amazing work that they do and the visibility that they drive. We often overlook the smaller organizations that could really use your support as a volunteer, a board member, or where your dollar and your philanthropy could go even further for a smaller organization. So I want to challenge you to learn about the nonprofits that are in your area and learn how you can get involved. And I would challenge our allies to think about how you can incorporate talent from the LGBTQ plus community all year long, and think about how you can invest in LGBTQ businesses and organizations all year long. If your ERG or BRG is planning your Pride experience, Atlanta's is in October, so we've got a couple of months yet. But I would challenge you to think about, where are you sourcing your materials, your tchotchkes, all the things that you're doing. Are you tying that effort to a local nonprofit that could really use your support and your human capital? And are you thinking about, when you bring in speakers, when you hire caterers, when you look at bringing in other businesses into your organization to highlight, are you intentionally looking at a diverse lineup of organizations? And I would also say, can you tie in this message to supporting LGBTQ plus organizations and communities to your broader diversity, equity, inclusion, and community investment strategy, right? It's not enough to just say we're supporting the LGBTQ plus folks in June and that we're going to support other communities in their respective month. Think about an integrated strategy, because we don't just come with our queer identity, we come with a lot of layers and backgrounds and perspectives, and I want you to lean into that and think about where you're sourcing your talent.
I love that, Chris. And that's an interesting point you made about sourcing your Pride products from LGBT businesses. A study that was done by one of our suppliers actually found that less than 10% of corporations are sourcing their Pride products from the LGBTQ plus community. And, if you're going to wave that big rainbow flag, you want to make sure that it's sourced from an LGBT business. So that's right. A really great point. And thanks for that, Chris.
And a great way to do that is to connect with the NGLCC in your local chamber to find those local businesses that can help you bring that experience to life in a more meaningful way.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Chris. Troy, how about you? What can our allies do to continue to support the community this Pride Month and beyond?
To finalize, I would say, in life, you don't get what you want. In life, you don't even get what you ask for. You get what you believe. And I remember so often, even when I was younger, I would go in and I would either want something or even ask for something. But it wasn't until I gained enough awareness to understand my worth, to understand the belief that supports it. I say to my allies, to my colleagues, to my friends, to everyone on this call, continue to believe. Believe that we are worth it. Believe that we are making a difference. Believe that no matter all the struggles, all the debacles, all the things that come with this territory, with this position, to be able to stand, you have to walk, you have to crawl, you have to take a baseball bat to the kneecap every now and again. And to also understand that it's bigger than all of us, and we can't take the elevator. We got to take it one step at a time, and just continue to believe that you're on the right track and that we all are making a difference.
Well, Troy, thank you. I think that is a perfect way to close out today's panel, but I just want to give a massive thank you to the three of you, Joey, Heather, Chris, and Troy, or the four of you, for joining us here today for our panel. We are so grateful here at NGLCC to have such amazing members of our community and allies in our network. And what an awesome discussion we've had here today. So thank you once again for being part of this and helping us celebrate Pride. To everyone on the line, thank you for joining us today, and stick around because we'll have a few more LGBTQ businesses to highlight before we close out today's program. We also hope that you'll join us this Friday for our special Pride edition of NGLCC Sip and Pitch Fridays. Our team will drop the registration link into the chat so that you can register and add that event to your calendar. Thank you once again to our panelists today and to everyone on the line for joining, and wishing you all a very happy Pride from all of us at NGLCC.
Hello, everyone, and happy Pride. My name is Ty Collier. My pronouns are he, him, and I am the proud owner of Queerencia. Queerencia is a Black and LGBTQ+ owned apparel company based in Columbus, Ohio. We focus on merging queer history and queer culture with trendy products to bring more awareness and accessibility to the community. Through our wholesale platform Q Promo, we work with small to large corporations to provide them with custom apparel and accessories for any sort of project that they may have. We are so honored to work with a lot of these certified businesses and the corporate partners through NGLCC. This has been such a great honor to work with many of you this Pride Month and beyond. We hope you have a fantastic Pride Month, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Happy Pride. My name is Misha Safran. I use she, they pronouns, and I want to just first thank NGLCC for all the support you give all of us. I am the founder of SEEK, the Center for Empathy and Emotional Intelligence. I conduct leadership development training centering empathy and emotional intelligence to bring more belonging and inclusivity to your workplace. And I'm the co-founder and co-creator of the Conscious Couples Community for Women Who Love Women with my partner and beautiful fiance, Jody Lewis. We support love, we nurture love, we help love become rejuvenated and refreshed while also supporting relationship longevity. For the month of June, Pride, just send me an email at misha@seek.org. You can see that down here to my right. And just type in NGLCC Pride waiver, and we will waive the $50 enrollment fee. The cost is only $65 per month for a beautiful community of skills, support, and connection. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, I'm Michael Paris. Pronouns he, him.
And hi, I'm Gregory Cole. My pronouns are he and him.
We're the creators and founders of the Bubble Collection, a niche line of fragrances, and there's 6 of them.
And all of them are unisex, and they're about the bubbles you live in, or the bubbles you want to connect to, or the bubbles you want to break out of.
We're proud to be connected to NGLCC and celebrate Pride. One of the greatest things about the organization is us getting to meet other like-minded entrepreneurs on a monthly basis to talk about what we're doing or to help each other out growing our business. And of course, we're celebrating, which just happens to be the name of one of our fragrances, Celebrate.
So whether you're heading out to a Pride parade or just want to celebrate love and acceptance in your everyday life, the Bubble Collection has a fragrance for you.
Let there be bubbles.
Let there be bubbles, and happy Pride.